gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the Rebel Radio podcast. I don't really have a cold opening today, so I'll just say this is Mark.
This is Matt.
This is Long.
And I just nothing struck me in the news this week loud enough to come up with a cold opening. But I feel I'll just say I'm you guys we all grew up here in Texas, but man, I'm for the first time ever I'm really sick of the heat. Like it's something you say you get used to it living here, and you do to an extent, but this summer has been, man, it's just fucking brutal, man. And I'm ready for it to be over with and starting to get a little bit better weather hopefully soon, or not soon, probably not till late September, October. So we still got a way to go, but it has been. It felt like too, like coming out of Comic Palooza this year. I didn't get any con cred this year, thankfully. Hopefully you guys didn't either. But I feel like I'm getting older, man. Yeah. It's taking me longer to recover. Like, I still don't feel completely rested for some reason almost 2 weeks later. Maybe that's just a sign of old age, or I'm just fat and out of shape.
Man, it happens to the best of us, man. The immune system goes, the metabolism goes, you lose hair one place, you gain it in another. It's, you keep losing, but just like Rocky says, anyone with 2 fists and a heartbeat has a chance, baby. You've got a chance. Just keep that eye of the tiger.
Hey, man, this is kind of a news item, but man, you kind of gave me something to talk about there. Like, but I didn't put it in the news so we can talk. Like, you see, they pushed Creed 3 back to March of next year because, which I always kind of thought it was funny that it was coming out in November because they just started shooting that film like in February or March. I was like, wait, you just started shooting this in February or March? You're going to have it out in 6 months? So I thought that was strange anyway. But now they want to do a Drago spinoff. It's like, what? Man, I feel like you're like, don't water the franchise down, Like, we all thought what was Creed going to be about, and it turned out to be pretty good. Creed. But don't do too much,
I think you got to go with Clubber Lang, I guess, unless you just start building up an original storyline. And you go back to that Pretty Ricky fighter that had to go to jail. Maybe he gets back out, and you readdress it, and try and make it more of an original storyline. But either way, I'm sure it'll be entertaining. Nostalgia is always great. So maybe we'll see Mr. T.
Right.
Yeah.
But
he's
it's
too far gone.
Yeah, we'll see where they go with it. I mean, I like the first one.
Going through dementia or something.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sad if he doesn't pity the fool anymore. Yeah, and the fools pity him.
No.
Yeah, so we'll see where they go with it. But I'll still watch Creed 3. I mean, I enjoyed the first 2. But with no Rocky anymore, it feels like it's going to lose a little bit of its soul possibly. But we'll see what happens. Michael B. Jordan is directing the third one himself. So it's going to be his directorial debut. So we'll see how he does. He's a very talented young man. So we'll see. Yep.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you fellas doing good this week?
Yeah, we just need some rain. It's dry as heck. My grass is
what
burn up.
Man, it's like every day I've been running into late afternoon, evening rain this whole week.
Really?
I've been out and about. Yeah. At least in central Houston. And then by the time it reaches northwest, it just dissipates for some reason. A few drops in there. I did yesterday. It was torrential. I couldn't see past 5 yards in front of my vehicle on Westheimer yesterday. It was downpouring pretty hard. So, and then by the time it reaches the northwest part, it just utters out. Yeah. But whatever.
But then you see they're having like flooding in Galveston, which is unprecedented. Or not Galveston. I don't know why I said Galveston. Las Vegas. They hardly ever get any rain up there.
Well, they need it. The West is like in a super drought, so whatever. They can bitch and complain about flooding, but they need that water super bad, especially near Hoover Dam. So
for real,
they need to generate power with that water.
But yeah, we have had a few drops here and there. That's probably been the only good thing about the drought is haven't really had to mow the yard much, so or having my son do it at least. So that's been kind of good, I guess. But very dry and very hot, and lots of sweaty underwear. So that's kind of what we're having. But let's get into today's show then. Officially download this where we tell people what we watched, streamed, and checked out this week. Video games we might have played. Whoever wants to go first can go first this week.
I've been checking a lot of music this week, and I fell into a rabbit hole from a kind of a new band called Ginger Root, and most of their songs are so catchy. It's and their genre of music's more of like a, I don't know, 1980s Japanese style pop music, but it's a band from California, and yeah, I highly recommend. You just type in Loretta from Ginger Root, and it's a pretty catchy song. So the music videos look like they're filmed in the 80s, but they're not. I mean, they're just made to look that way. Like they're filmed during the heydays of Tokyo or Japanese economic boom or something like that.
Nice.
But it looks really, really fun to listen to, very fun to watch. If you guys ever get a chance, just check it out. I think I sent Matt a link. I wasn't sure if I was going to send Mark that link because he's mainly in just rock, right? Pearl Jamish.
No, he likes folk music.
He don't like. He doesn't like no folk music.
Little River Band.
I don't know, but yeah, give it a try. It's pretty catchy stuff. Let's see. I didn't get a chance to play any video games. It's been such a tough week altogether. Moving on.
I went ahead and rented a movie that you guys were pretty high on, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I thought it was pretty cool. And then I thought, right when I thought it was going to end, it didn't end, and it kept going, and it just like kept going deeper and deeper and more and more universes, and it was entertaining, and I thought it was fun. So it was good. It was a good rental. At $5.99, you can't beat it.
Raccoonie.
Yeah, the raccoon. He's like friggin' Ratatouille.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty darn hilarious. And then
I bought it on Blu-ray.
Like,
I had to buy it. I think the movie's fantastic.
I read some criticism from people who complained about the ending dragging on, but they're fucking idiots. It wasn't dragging on. It was building upon what it set upon.
Yeah.
And there's and the daughter. Oh my God. The actor who played the daughter, she did so good. She's such a good actor. But folks who experience depression picks up on it really quick. Her daughter's going through depression. You pick up on the signals. You could relate to it immediately. And the folks who really like the ending picked up on that, while the folks who don't really know what depression feels like generally brushes it off, that I've noticed. But I really like how it goes so far. It pushes the boundaries of goofiness, but you could feel the emotional core of the film in the last 15 minutes or so. It's a remarkable film. It's definitely one of those films that come out of nowhere and it's just I didn't hear much word of mouth on it per se. No, it's just actually word of mouth did help.
It's out there on the internet. The word of mouth.
Watch it, you know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think it's my
freaking-
second.
What was it? So Wayman definitely was the heart and soul of that film.
Oh,
for sure.
Yeah. Alpha Waymond.
Yeah. Well, any of the Waymans, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he acted his ass off in that film. I mean, he can go, like, energetic to serious martial artist to freaking, serious Hong Kong art house serious. So, like, Wong Kar-wai, you can definitely pick up on some of those. You can see his acting range.
Yeah, he had to go through many different versions of himself, and then he comes to the one from that universe, and he's just like, "Whoa, what's going on?"
Yeah. The fight scenes are good too.
Oh, absolutely. And then Jamie Lee Curtis is like unrecognizable almost.
Yeah. Oh, God, the hot dog fingers one is kind of freaky. Still, it's kind of cursed.
It really is. Threw me off. I think I could have done without it, but I think you have to have it in there because it just goes through like a whole nother layer of universe. That's just, I guess you need that, fucked up universe in there, and that's the one. And I guess
it makes more sense towards the end of the film.
Something coming out of him. Yeah. I don't know I guess that was mustard that was coming out.
Yeah, mustard and ketchup.
Yep.
Coming out. Yeah. Cray.
But yeah, so good film. If you got $5.99 and a little bit of time, definitely rent it.
I kind of want to watch Swiss Army Man now.
Swiss Army Man?
Yeah, starring Daniel Radcliffe and what's his name?
See, tried to watch that a while back when it came out, and I didn't like it at all. It's such a different film.
Really?
So I didn't like it. I couldn't even get through it. So just beware. It's not really. I know it's the same directors, but it's just such a different film than this was.
I figured it'd be something like a spoof of kind of Weekend at Bernie's or something. The way it was advertised.
I'd almost say it's more darker.
Not
I think.
Much.
So.
Yeah. Anything else, Matt?
Yeah. Other than that, I know I sent y'all a clip, but I rented Death Proof. I'd never seen it before.
Really?
And, yeah, I never have. I knew it was out there, and I knew it had Kurt Russell, and I knew it was a Tarantino film. I guess it wasn't that successful in theaters. It basically made its money back. Maybe that's why I didn't hear about it as much as some of his other films. But
it was released. It was released as a Grindhouse with Planet Terror, and I actually saw it in theaters, and the whole thing was like just over 3 hours. So
Pretty
it was
long.
a long sit. Yeah, it was a long sit to try to sit through the whole thing, and people. It was very. It wasn't a mass appeal type release. It was it wasn't like Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino releasing a regular film. It was more. It played more to like cinephile audiences. You had to be kind of hardcore to go see it. So I think that's why it didn't find a huge audience at the box office.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's filmed like it's in the 70s, but really it's 2000s. Austin, Texas. People have cell phones, and everything, and Kurt Russell has
almost all of Planet Terror was all shot in Austin.
That is death proof. Yeah, I didn't realize it was actually shot in Austin. That makes sense with all the hill country.
Yeah, I think parts of Death Proof were all shot in Texas.
Texas.
Yeah.
And then the lap dance scene, that was pretty fun. And then he gets attacked from Rosario Dawson and her her two friends. He's just like, whoa, what the heck?
No, he was like crying, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like, stop.
Pouring whiskey on his wounds. And
it's like, why? But, that's actually accurate on how psychopaths react to pain when it's inflicted on them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's, but come on. It's definitely one of the best car chase scenes in film history, too. You got to talk about that.
Oh, big time,
yeah.
Man. I mean, they're going back and
filmed
forth
without any damn CGI either. It was all practical right there.
Just like, and I like how they reference, some classics. They reference Crazy Mary, Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, which of course was a car chase movie in the 70s with Peter Fonda. He stole a Dodge Challenger after basically robbing a grocery store, and they go on a big joyride, all practical effects, and they're running from the cops. They reference the original Gone in 60 Seconds, and they call the Nick Cage one trash, I guess, because a lot of car chase enthusiasts don't like that the remake had a lot more dialogue. They like that the original had all those chase scenes, but the original didn't have as cool of a Mustang, man. But anyways, besides that, they also reference Vanishing Point. And so it's all about that old school.
I've seen that movie, effects. By the way.
Yeah. Oh, you've seen Vanishing Point?
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen Vanishing Point.
Pretty good car chase scene for its time.
Yeah. No, it's over the open road too. So it's just constant car chase, in that film from what I gather.
Yeah. But to be quite honest, really, Mad Max Fury Road is definitely the Mount Everest of car chase movies. I have to say.
Oh yeah, it's one. It's a car chase on steroids, man. You've got big rigs with multiple engines in them, and they're fixing them while they're driving.
The whole film is pretty much almost a car chase film.
For real. Other than that, I did watch Drive. I'd seen it before, and it was just like, what, I want to watch it again. And it wasn't bad. It's very it's very based on the book. It's got a lot of dramatization with Ryan Gosling and the different how the mood shifts in the movie is supposed to be how that character feels. When he's with the girl and her son, everything's bright, looks like a family film, and then whenever he's out on the job, it's dark, it's gritty, and it's maybe it's a little bit too artiste for a car chase movie, but it's interesting. You've got what's Oscar Isaac's in there. You've got the great Bryan Cranston in there. And it's fun to watch. It was still fun to watch, but I think, Mark, what you said, it's you watch it a few times, it's kind of a throwaway film. It's nothing like Grindhouse or Grindhouse Death Proof.
Depressing.
And then yeah. And then lastly,
Grindhouse would be interesting.
Huh?
What, Mark?
Oh, we're getting some delays in the show. Sorry about that, folks. But no, I thought Grindhouse would be interesting. If we ever did on the show, we would split it up over 2 weeks. Do Planet Terror 1 week and Death Proof the next, and it could be fun.
Oh, definitely. And then I had to watch Riding in Cars with Boys with Jackie. She made me watch a chick flick.
Oh,
and I knew what it was.
Let's not talk about that.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those movies where your woman would be like, "Hey, this is a car movie. It's Riding in Cars with Boys." You're like, "Oh, cool. What kind of cars do they drive in?" You're like, "Man, there's no car chases in this movie at all. There's just James Woods."
Sure, Matt. Sure. Just like that time you were forced to watch Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah. Yep. It's forced.
We know the truth, don't
but
we?
But anywho,
Roland?
that was my slate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still Magnolias.
I didn't watch much this week.
Yep. Still Magnolias.
Still Magnolias.
Right. But I did watch a Ryan Gosling film, the new film from the Russo brothers that's on Netflix, The Gray Man, and it's a pretty fun action movie. I mean, it's it doesn't break any new ground or anything like that. It's predictable in parts, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. The Russo brothers, they made one of my favorite Marvel films with Winter Soldier, and I thought the action sequences, the Winter Soldier, were extraordinarily well done. And this is kind of the Russo brothers going back to that type of playing field where they're not at the boundaries of CGI and special effects like Infinity War and Endgame, where they can tell a story with practical action effects like they did in the Winter Soldier. So the action sequences in The Gray Man are really well done. Chris Evans plays a villain in it with a porn stash, and it's interesting to see him play this part, but he's actually really good. He's a really good villain, one that you learn to hate very quickly in the film. So I think it worked for that role. And Gosling is, he's one of those actors that's just very good in almost everything he's in. And he's good in this movie. But I'd recommend watching if you got a couple hours to kill and you're kind of bored. Watch it on Netflix. I mean, it's a solid film from the Russo brothers, and I guess Netflix is already planning on doing a sequel and doing some more films. And I guess it's a series of books, The Gray Man, apparently. So there's other stories that can be told. I'm still not sure why the movie's called The Gray Man. I didn't quite get that from the title. But did watch it?
I thought it was because he operates.
Yeah, it was good, man.
Gray,
I guess so. Billy Bob Thornton's in it. I really, it's funny is Billy Bob Thornton gets older and he shows up in films. I really kind of appreciate how Billy Bob is just very comfortable in everything he does now. He's become that guy that you're going to get a good performance on screen. He's just become a great character actor. And yes, Ana de Armas, who is the current hot chick of the moment, and she is certainly smoking hot. I like seeing her in movies. She can keep showing up in movies. That's okay. but yeah, the Gray
signal keeps breaking on my end.
Yeah, we're having some signal
Half of
issues
what you
tonight.
said. No, it's not we. It's you.
But, oh no, I'm getting signals on y'all's end too. Trust me. So y'all are breaking up some also. Yeah, it was a good film.
Yeah. Very, very enjoyable. But yeah. I like the humor that they throw in there every once in a while. There, he's like, "Where's the assets?" And then he's like, "Is this it?" And he pulls out a grenade, and of course, it just falls out of the pin. And Chris Evans is like, "Fuck," and they have to run out of the room. It works, Ryan Gosling. He's that nonchalant kind of version of himself, and Chris Evans is like that version of himself from the Losers, kind of, but mellowed down into this bad guy, and with the porn stash, like you said, and it works really well. I think you're right, Mark. If you got a few hours, definitely watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that's really all I really watched this week. Was just really The Gray Man. So let's get into today's featured film then, where this year's James Bond's 60th anniversary. So we thought it was appropriate to do at least one Bond film. We might try to squeeze one more in before the end of the year. And we went back to 1964, I believe, in just Sean Connery's second adventure as James Bond in From Russia with Love. And I'm going to let Matt summarize this film, but I want to say that watching this, it was kind of cool to see Bond doing spy work. You realize in the current films, he doesn't do a whole lot of spy work, so it's kind of neat to see him do it's kind of old-fashioned spy yarn in this film. And Matt, summarize this movie for us.
Yeah, so they give Sean Connery a little bit more to do. Of course, after the success of Dr. No, the very simple plot where they basically say, hey, Bond, an agent was killed, go check it out. In this one, they actually have a decoder that the British Secret Service wants to get its hands on. So Spectre lures Russia and the UK into a trap because they don't want to make Russia the bad guys in this film. We're still in Cold War, and the US, everyone wanted to get out of it. So Bond goes to Istanbul, Istanbul, and is basically set up by Spectre with another Russian counterintelligence operative, Tatiana, and he's supposed to meet her there. And to get this decoder, and of course we get the great Felix Leiter that appears in this movie. And it's funny, that scene with Felix Leiter. He walks in and Bond punches him in the stomach so that he doesn't say 007, but he refers to himself as 007 in front of the bad guys, anyways. But very very funny. I know, right? But yeah. But always cool seeing that, Felix Leiter appears a lot. But it's you get the great Robert Shaw, who is in the beginning of the film, practicing to look like to beating these Sean Connery lookalikes up and killing him. His character is great throughout the film. He's keeping Bond alive because they want him to get this decoder ring. Because they don't want them to realize they're actually working for Spectre. It's a really cool plot because you're so many steps ahead of Bond. Watching this film, Bond's doing all this detective work, and they think the Russians think that the embassy in Istanbul has killed one of their agents, so they attack the embassy, and it's really Spectre behind the scenes, and you're seeing it all happen, and Bond's trying to uncover it throughout the whole film, and it's a really good spy film. You get Q in this film. He gives Bond some cool gadgets, and he gets a collapsible rifle, a booby-trapped briefcase, and a throwing knife, which he uses to kill Shaw's bad guy, I believe. I think that's who he uses to kill. I watched it earlier in the week. Can't lie, this is my first time watching the film, so I forget who he killed with the throwing knife. You also get
Red Grant.
Grant.
He doesn't kill him, but he uses it to distract him in the famous train fight scene. Are you spoiling the movie, or are you summarizing the movie? I'm trying to...
Yeah, so you eventually find out who's behind the scenes. Sometimes. Yeah, sorry. I just, there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot to uncover.
This is but this is a complex film, and it's a bit of a slow burn film, but it's a good slow burn because the payoff, it pays off essentially.
Yeah, it does pay off at the end. And we lose Tatiana. You find out more about this evil organization who continues to show up. And shows up in an even more complex film, Thunderball. This is, of course, Ian Fleming's and JFK's final film that they watched, both of their favorites. And this was Sir Sean Connery's favorite film before he passed. It's a great novel. It boosted the novel series. People started reading more, and it's really helped get the film to be more and more successful as the years went on and as the stories were adapted. So it's a very important film, even though you see a $2 million budget and $24 million overall. That was a big deal back then. They didn't see even greater success until, I'll mention it again, Thunderball, who grossed more with adjustment to inflation. The biggest film since up until Skyfall. Skyfall was the biggest one since Thunderball. So in the 60s, man, this was a really big escapism for men, really. I mean, you've got this guy that picks up chicks and and is just very debonair and, beats the bad guys, evil organization, and no one had seen anything like it. And we get the second movie here, and man, it's great and, set up for Goldfinger. This is the first time I've seen it, so I don't know when y'all saw it. You probably saw it like 20 times before I saw it just a few days ago.
It's probably about the third time I've watched it. I'd seen it before. Then I picked up on Blu-ray and watched it on Blu-ray, and it looks really sharp. And now I've watched it now, and I like this one quite a bit too because it's such a good spy thriller. It's got exciting moments, really well shot action sequences for the time, and my golly, it's a hell of a PG rated movie because it's pretty violent. Not violent by today's standards, but for 1960 standards, it's pretty sexualized. I'm like, they get away with a lot of stuff in a PG movie for back then, which is quite amazing.
The gypsies.
And the gypsies shaking her butt and her hips and all that, and the use of poison, just the violence. Like I said,
back then.
They did it. They had R-rated films did exist back then, but it was basically PG and R. That was it. And very few films got R because they weren't using language like we use now. They weren't using as much blood and guts as they are now. Because I believe, if I remember correctly, like The French Connection was one of the first big high-rated R-rated films that kind of broke the mold. So very few films I think were still rated R at this time. You're correct about that. Yeah,
but that was in the mid-70s.
Yeah, exactly.
MPAA rated.
But this is definitely I've just watched it, but there's several films that area. You're like, wow, this is PG. But Connery's much more comfortable in the role in this after Dr. No. Like, you could tell when you watch Dr. No, he wasn't quite completely sure how to play it. This time he's walking around with a air of confidence throughout the film. He knows he's a badass secret agent spy, getting all the women, taking care of the business. He's almost smirking throughout the film because he knows he's such a badass. And I think that's what makes it work too, is that Connery, he's got good lines. He just completely buys into the role. And the supporting cast too. This movie has a really good supporting cast around him. All the actors do their jobs very well, from the mysterious S.P.E.C.T.R.E organization to the women and to Felix and the people around him. And I think that's what makes this movie so good, is that it's just everyone buys in their roles. It's well acted, well shot, and it tells a really good spy story. Long, what are your experiences from Rush with Love?
I thought it was a very grounded film for Abyss. I mean, it's a spy film through and through, for sure. The music, they really overplayed the Bond theme, didn't they?
Oh, dude, he's just looking behind a picture, and
he's just looking behind the picture, and the Bond theme's playing like full blast.
Yeah,
And I'm like, okay,
for bugs. Yeah,
music direction's a little weird at this time, I guess.
They probably save money, but it makes you appreciate it now when you watch the current ones, like the Craig films and stuff. When they do use it, it's much more exciting because they don't overuse it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or they underuse it,
right?
In my opinion. Also, the pacing was fine, I guess. The editing was a little janky during the fight scenes, but that's just the product of its time.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, I really like one of my favorite scenes in the film is definitely when they were going into the Istanbul's underground, this underground, not sewers.
Oh, the water reservoir.
The reservoir.
And using the periscope.
Using the periscope, and they were all. I don't know why I always liked that scene. I thought, oh, that was kind of cool. As a kid, I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, you've probably seen, Matt, the inspiration for Brow from Austin Powers.
She's checking out Shaw's character, and then Tatiana comes in. She's like, "You're a very fine woman," and I'm like, "Oh yeah."
That's the worst German accent I've ever heard, Matt.
Uh-huh. Well, you're asking a Mexican to do a German accent. We can't do it all, man.
You can do it. You can do Arnold. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, you're a very fine Fräulein.
Yeah, there you go. That's a pretty good accent. There you go. Like, shit, you've been practicing Arnold accent all these years, and you come out and say, "Oh, I can't do it." It's like, get out of here, Mark. But anyways, the train scene is classic. The fight scene between Red Grant and Bond, and also the helicopter chase scene was cool. And
he almost got hurt. He almost got hurt. They got too close to him.
Yeah, and the boat chase scene is also a classic scene as well. That upped the stunts a little bit more. Still grounded in its nature, and of course, it's all a precursor to Goldfinger, which basically solidified the Bond formula.
Right.
For the next few decades.
It really brought Spectre.
But yeah, overall, it's a fine Bond film. It's a stepping stone Bond film. It's still trying to find its footing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really like. I feel like in Dr. No, you had Dr. No as a villain, but it wasn't like it felt like Richard Grant's the character of Grant, Richard Shaw's character, kind of established that badass James Bond villain. Like you said, started getting that formula. Then we moved to Goldfinger, and we definitely have the villain of Goldfinger. And I think that he's awesome in this film. He's kind of menacing, and I like the fight too, because you feel like you need to get this really big epic fight between him and Bond, but instead you get this intense tight fight, but it still feels pretty epic, and I think that's pretty cool. And Spielberg cast Shaw in Jaws because of this movie. I thought that was pretty cool, and he's really good in the movie. And you talk about punches. Something it's so weird, like when the number she's number 2 or number 3, where she walks up to him and she just punches him in the stomach, and she's like, he seems well fit. I just kind of chuckle at that scene. I'm like, she just punches this big dude. He just stands there like, oh.
Punches him in the gut with freaking brass knuckles.
Yeah.
Was a little bizarre. And I did notice the editing in the film is a bit wonky at the time, but I kind of look at that as just a product of the time. They had different editing equipment back then than we have now. But it's fine. I think the strange girl fight scene in the middle of the movie is kind of a little out of place, but at the same time, it's like these two girls like snarling at each other, and I'm just watching. I'm like, this is so awesome. It's just like there seems to be no point in that whole scene in the film, but hey, why not? Let's have a couple of chicks fight in the middle of a movie. And then later on, both those chicks end up in Bond's bedroom, and he's like, oh, you can have both of them. Do whatever you want. It's just like, wow. The things they got away with back then, Bond just swinging and banging wherever he could. But yeah.
He's got the lines, man. But it's Tatiana, she's like, I have a small mouth.
Tatiana's a very beautiful character, by the way. No one's...
Oh, yeah.
No, she is.
Definitely one of the most beautiful Bond girls to be on the screen. Kind of timeless hairstyle and all that, too.
Strangely, though, that director Terrence Young didn't like her legs, though, for some reason. So that's why he made her wear a little bit longer skirts than some of the other Bond girls wore. Yeah, he, for some reason, didn't like her legs. And I guess that was acceptable to tell a woman back then, even though it shouldn't have been. Like, I don't like your legs. I'm covering you up. It's like, imagine that now in woke culture. It's like, oh, you couldn't do that. But yeah, she is very pretty, and she's really good actress too. Sometimes the Bond movies, they do take a knock for hiring beautiful women to play Bond girls, and sometimes the acting's not all that great, like Denise Richards, pretty flat. But the girl who played Tatiana was very good in this film. She held her own. And that's why I said this is a well acted Bond film, and I really enjoy the spy aspects of it. Kind of makes you appreciate this movie after watching the action-packed Craig films, which are a lot of fun. They're really good and they're action-packed, but I kind of like a good old spy thriller every now and then. Some of those movies, like, have you guys ever seen Spy Game with Robert Redford and Brad Pitt? It's just such a really good spy movie, And they don't do a whole lot of those kind of films anymore.
No, I've never seen Spy Games. 007's probably the
Weird
extent
feedback
to
and
my
delays there.
spy movies.
Huh? You never seen Spy Game with Robert Redford and Brad Pitt? That's a good movie. Yeah, I mean it's a limited genre, you know. I mean, like they said, they have that and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. That was a good movie. But yeah, it is a limited genre. Not a whole lot of spy films out there.
Oh yeah,
or more than we think there are. Just not a lot of super popular ones. You know.
Well,
but yeah, I don't
Tinker Tailor Toy
know what else
Soldier
to say about this film. But
supposedly is the most accurate portrayal of spies, from what I've heard. So, and it's boring as fuck.
It was good.
Did you guys ever play?
It is a slow kind of
2005. The 2005 From Russia with Love game on PS2.
No, but I heard it was good though.
Yes. Yeah, I actually played that on the Xbox, the first Xbox, actually.
I didn't realize it existed until, looking into the film. And
I believe they actually had Sean Connery in it. Yeah.
He reprised his voice. Yeah, he reprised his role. And yeah. And I like that Ian Fleming, after this film and in the books, he gave Bond a Dutch and a Scottish ancestry. So that was cool. That way, you made sense of the accent.
Speaking of Bond video games, there's one in the Xbox 360 that Daniel Craig did the voice for, and called Bloodstone. That was actually a really good game and a good Bond story. Some nice twist in it, just like a Bond movie. That was a good game, worth playing. I enjoyed that one on the 360, and it was written as sort of like it kind of took place. It was almost like a sequel to Quantum of Solace, so it kind of was in the continuity of the Bond films, and it was pretty good. So that was a good one.
Okay.
But yeah, it's amazing, man. This franchise is one of I think it's the oldest running franchise in Hollywood now, with 60 years and 26 films or 26 films now, and probably going to keep going. You know, I think MGM still owns it, and they're sitting back, taking a little break after Daniel Craig films to decide what to do next. And I'm sure we'll have Bond back in theaters in the next couple of years here. And but this is a good movie. I give From Russia with Love a pretty solid A-. I think it's a pretty good Bond film. Definitely kind of sets the formula and tells a good spy story.
Yeah, I think an A- is fair.
I give it a B+.
Long been on a B+ roll lately.
Hey,
I'm being honest.
That's all right.
I'm not going to change it.
Hey,
there we go. Right. He's not going to fluff it up for you.
That's all right. I'm not asking him to. He's got a movie next week that if it's not an A+, then I don't know. I'm just going to have to question Long's liking of cinema. I'm just kidding, Long.
I want my family back.
Let's do a little bit of news before we preview that film for next week.
Leslie Nielsen did it better.
Yeah.
Not a whole ton of news. David Warner passed away this week. And, he's kind of a classically trained British actor and always played a lot of villains. He was the villain in Tron. But, this guy was also a bigger fan of science fiction and comic books than people think. He was a voice of Ra's al Ghul in Batman the Animated Series. Did quite a bit of science fiction movies and quite a bit animation voiceover work. And people, you hear this a lot about British actors that come across on screen as being very serious and very into their work, and then you hear that behind the scenes they were the consummate gentleman, just the nicest person in the world, and that seems to be the take on David Warner this week. That he came across on the screen as being that tough guy, but behind the scenes he was just a sweet, sweet man, and just loved what he did, making movies and entertaining people. And I always remember as the villain of Tron. That's probably his most memorable role for me. So.
No, that's I I know the women remember him from the Titanic. He was the bad guy that put handcuffs on Leo.
Titanic, yeah.
Yep.
That is true.
He was.
I guess
Star
Jason
Trek
Momoa.
With, Chancellor Gork.
Yeah, he was in Star Trek 6. He actually was in a couple of Star Trek shows too. He was in I think he made appearances on like Next Generation, Deep Space Nine. Made appearance on a few shows too. Yes, he was a big Trek fan.
Mm-hmm. No,
and
he was actually in the Next Generation. Actually.
Okay, but he was also in Star Trek 5 too.
Yeah, he was in Star Trek 5 for sure.
Yeah, he had a small part in Star Trek 5 as well. Yep. So, big Trek fan. Ben Affleck and Jason Momoa were hanging out this week, and Momoa released a picture on his Instagram or something and announced that Affleck will be making at least a cameo appearance in Aquaman 2. And, of course, this got the internet a buzz. Okay, is the Snyderverse still alive? Well, no, DC already came out at San Diego Comic-Con, said the Snyderverse is not still alive. But then Jim Lee, who seems to be kind of taking over the role of Jeff Johns and being a massive producer, says, like, just because we're not doing the Snyderverse doesn't mean that the ideas that were set in place won't be used. So I think this is a sign that maybe Affleck's not going away anytime soon, and maybe down the road we still get that Affleck Batman movie. There's enough room out there for the Robert Pattinson universe and Affleck's universe. Why not, right? Because if he's appearing in the Flash movie, he's making a cameo in the Aquaman movie. It just feels like there's something going on. Wouldn't you guys maybe agree?
Yeah.
I didn't understand half the things you said, Mark.
Yeah, I think if we're seeing Affleck, more prominent in these next few films, I think where there's smoke, there's fire, baby. So bring on the Batfleck.
That's right. And a similar story to that is Fantastic Four. They're going to make a movie, and Kevin Feige came out and said that it will not be an origin story. It'll, kind of tell a new tale. And they interviewed John Krasinski on a talk show this past week, and he gave the classic answer as they don't tell me anything, which pretty much tells me he's probably going to come back as Reed Richards, which makes sense, and be in the Fantastic Four. And so to me, that's good news. It's good fan casting that everyone wanted, and he's good in the role, and he's a good actor. So we'll see where that goes here. I imagine we'll start hearing a lot more about this Fantastic Four movie as we get closer to the end of the year. As they start casting and announcing directors and everything else. Yeah. And on a side note, the director of Shang-Chi was announced
in time sometime soon.
Hopefully. Yep. And the director of Shang-Chi is going to direct the Avengers Kang Dynasty movie. So they announced that this week. Awfully early, I guess, with a movie that doesn't come out for a couple of years, but I guess they're getting a head start. So I thought he was supposed to be making a Shang-Chi sequel first, so we'll see. That's why I think that Marvel's going to unveil more before it's all said and done. I started thinking about the other day.
Your signal's really bad. I haven't heard anything said at all.
All right. Well, let's preview next week's movie. It is my birthday week coming up, even though I don't really feel like turning older, but I don't have much choice. It's my birthday pick, and I chose to pick a movie that's a sequel to something we covered about a couple years ago. And it's a great fucking sequel to a great fucking first movie. And that is The Raid 2. And you guys have not seen this movie yet, but it is it's an incredible sequel that takes the world of The Raid and opens it up to whole new levels of excitement and action, lots of action, telling a really good, solid story to continue on from The Raid Part 1. So I'm kind of looking forward to you guys watching it. I can't wait to hear what y'all think about it. And so we'll talk that on next week's show. But until then, I think that's all we've got today with these internet issues. Hopefully everything comes out okay. And the rubberradiopodcast.com, that is the website, as always, for the show on all apps. And just continue to stay safe out there. We thank you for listening.